2026 had an insane start for anime. With anticipated sequels, newcomers, and long-awaited shows, winter was such a stacked season. And naturally, with such behemoths like these, some gems fall through the cracks. There was this movie that was announced back in November last year and was pretty interesting. First of all, it was gorgeous, and a bunch of Vocaloid producers were going to work on it, and a pretty well-known director at the helm. So I kept a mental note to see if it was gonna be any good when it came out. Little did I know that it would rock my world. I have a question. You ever just watch something and ask yourself, how does this even exist? Like, looking at all the aspects that make it up and it just feels too good to be true. I could just describe this movie as peak or masterpiece or absolute cinema, but no, I don't think that's enough. I know 2026 just started and all, but yeah, I want to talk about the anime of the year. Cosmic Princess Kaguya is a Netflix exclusive movie that came out in late January of 2026. An original project directed, storyboarded, and co-written by Shingo Yamashita, one of the greatest animators of our time, with iconic work such as the Chainsaw Man opening and both of JJK's first season OPs. He's been a mainstay in the industry for quite some time now if you've been into the medium for a long time. And this movie is his feature film directorial debut. It's a story about a high school girl who, after a hard day's work, finds herself this RGB gaming telephone pole, and inside of it is a baby girl. She reluctantly takes it in, and a bunch of hijinks happen. Now, this movie is based on the classic The Tale of the Bamboo Cutter, the oldest story in Japan like ever. And it's been adapted and remixed in all sorts of Japanese media. By the way, you should watch this one too, it's very good. What makes Cosmic Princess Kaguya stand out though is making it a modern retelling of the folktale, adding VTubers and streaming, the metaverse, and Vocaloid into the mix. And the part that still gets me? It all just works. They tie these ideas together so cohesively, intertwining them in such fun and creative ways that add so much more flavor to the story. It is genuinely an achievement how cleverly they work these ideas in. There's so many great examples of this, but I'd like to specifically highlight them going the extra mile to make full live 2D models of their two titular characters. One of them we don't even see in the actual movie at all, and was only primarily used for promotional material. It just feels so, I don't know, authentic. It represents this specific subculture that's come to rise in the past half decade so beautifully. And apparently the Vocaloid part of the movie wasn't even planned. According to an interview with the director, it's a byproduct of the story being about virtual divas, which meant it was natural to put Vocaloid in, as VTubers and Vocaloid have always been intrinsically connected since its conception. Their portrayal of their metaverse too, Tsukiyomi, is so cool, with its mix of neon lights and ancient Japanese architecture, and for some reason really reminds me of Osoda's Summer Wars. Its portrayal of the internet as a whole is much more optimistic than what we would get these days. It feels like it's harkening back to that era when the internet was still a budding technology. Another thing I want to talk about is this movie is so pretty. It is bursting at the seams with so much life and color, and it's like this for the entirety of its runtime. They pack so much into every scene. They say every frame is a painting, which definitely applies to this too, but have you heard of every scene a GIF? I know it doesn't roll off the tongue as well, but this movie moves around so much that you can, and it has been GIFed. Is that even a word? Whatever. The hell out of. This would only be possible because the character designs are fantastic. We got two character designers working on this movie, one for the reality stuff and one for the world of Tsukuyomi. And they have such a nice distinction between them that the two can be separate but still feel coherent when put together. And they make so much out of the character designs. They really drive in the appeal of each character in the ways they animate them, from the way they move down to even their smallest of expressions. And that's because the performances brought by the voice actors are phenomenal. Hayamin will always have my heart forever, and Ana Naga's performance of Iroha really impressed me too. But Yuko Natsuyoshi's performance of Kaguya is such a standout. She brings so much energy to this role. The last time I saw a voice actor melt, which is a pun intended by the way, into their role in this way was Bochi the Rock's main character Bochi, which is really funny because a lot of this movie's humor, both visually and the delivery of the voice actors, is very similar. And it isn't just the fun character animation. The entire middle part of this film has so much action and amazing idol performances too. It's the first time I've seen anime really pull off that live feel so nicely, and it's only as good as it is because of Naoya Nakayama, who, if you didn't know, made one of the most iconic anime dances in the past decade and also worked on a bunch of Oshinoko. They even got the Yutaka Nakamura, yes, the Cube Man, to work on this movie when he didn't even work on anything for the finale of My Hero Academia. They deadass got the Avengers team of animators on this. Its marriage of 2D and CGI is also so good you don't even notice when they use it. Knowing how much Yama-sensei utilizes pre-visualizations even in his other productions, which is, by the way, a technique of using rough CG footage with placeholder assets to plan out shots. Previs is typically only used very little for your average anime production, but 300 cuts, yes, you heard me right, 300 cuts were made according to this NHK World segment for this movie, which is around 24 or so minutes worth of animation, roughly. It is insane to think about because that's like an entire chunk of the movie, like of the 2-hour movie that we have, and we can probably accredit a lot of its incredible consistency because of it. And can we talk about the music? It is insane that they were able to get 6 iconic Vocaloid producers to make the many songs we get to listen to in this movie. They got Ryo, that's right, the Ryo of Supercell, coming back to make such a banger remix of the Miku song, The World Is Mine. They got Sekai De for this movie. And all the other producers brought their A game too, either making quality remixes themselves or original songs that are now stuck in my playlist forever. I highly encourage listening to even the ones that aren't in the film because they're just as important. All the cover songs were meticulously chosen to fit the story they were telling. I also implore you to take a look at the lyrics for all of them too, for the emotional gut punches they can be. And it would be remiss of me not to mention Conisch's work for the soundtrack, perfectly rounding out the soundscape of the film and adds so much to the vibes. Now, enough of the preamble. We're like halfway-ish through the script, and I still have more to say. Before I get into this, by the way, here's your spoiler warning. I'll be talking about all of the story stuff here, so please watch the movies. They're on Netflix. Come on now. And if you have, watch it again. Trust me, you're not going to regret it. You missed a lot. Also, watch the Ray MV right after on YouTube for maximum experience, or like the best experience. I don't know what I'm talking about. Very important. Now, anyway, I didn't actually tell you about the folktale at all, so let's set this up. The tale of the bamboo cutter goes a little like this. Once upon a time, an old bamboo cutter was going about his business until he finds a glowing bamboo and goes, they're not supposed to glow like that, so he cuts it open. Inside is a baby girl. He then takes this baby to his wife and named her Kaguya-hime and decided to raise her as their own. Skipping a few steps, they get filthy rich from magic bamboo gold. She grows up to a young lady in a few months and is the prettiest woman ever in the world. Dudes try to get her hand in marriage, they get rejected. The Emperor of Japan tries to make a move. Kaguya says no, but they're cool though, so they become great friends, yada yada. Oh yeah, she's also from the moon, and the moon people are coming to get her. Her family tries to keep her on Earth, but the moon people are too strong. They lose. Kaguya wears a magic feathered robe that makes her forget everything and goes back home. But before she left, she wrote a letter to the Emperor and also left him with the elixir of immortality, who then said, nah, eternal life sucks if she ain't there. So he burns it at the peak of the mountain closest to the heavens. Oh wow, you look at that. It's Mount Fuji. And the end. That's basically the abridged version of it. I swear, this is important to what I'm talking about, by the way. The film pretty much follows the story beat for beat. The difference? Instead of a princess resigned to her fate, it's a princess who rejects it. But first, let's talk about our old bamboo cutter. Sakayori Iroha is the model student, admired by her peers, extremely talented, and excels in basically every field. But before that, due to her sour relationship with her mother, she went to Tokyo alone to escape her, living in a rundown apartment and working herself to the bone in a part-time job to provide her own tuition and expenses. And despite all of that, she still has time to game and partake in oshikatsu. Iroha carries the entire weight of the world on her shoulders. Or at least she thinks she does. With only a song from her Oshi, Yachio, keeping her going, that survivor mindset of hers has carried her this far. But she is barely holding on for dear life. Iroha is free from her mother, yes, but she's still confined in the cage of the idea of success that's been so deeply ingrained in her. Iroha loves music because it was a way for her and her father to bond and connect. But after he passed, her mother has made it a road she can take to succeed, and nothing else. Be the best or don't do it at all. She tries to deny this love, but she can't, finding even the smallest of joys when she gets the opportunity to play the piano in school. She even denies her own talents, deciding to take law for her program in university, ignoring her extraordinary skills in playing the piano or even the game she plays because that isn't what success looks like. After being bored and lonely on the moon, Kaguya decided to escape her duties, so she ran away to Earth. Her entire deal is her disposition to the fate of the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter's princess, and the promise that she made to Iroha to take her to a happier ending. Kaguya-hime has had many iterations now, some I don't even know about, but of the newer ones I have seen, they've always portrayed her to be this aloof and free-spirited girl, which our Kaguya has in spades. But what makes her so unique and truly compelling is how human she is. In fact, she revels in it. She has such an unbridled curiosity for the world and the people in it, wanting to see sights she's never seen before, enjoy food she's never tasted before, and hell, maybe even cook them. Their relationship is everything. Iroha being hyper-independent, having to learn to live with another soul, and Kaguya pulling Iroha out of her shell to experience the world she's missing out on all this time, allowing her to make use of her talents not for the sake of success, but to find joy in it again. Kaguya's love for humanity all stems from Iroha. Their brilliance, the freedom they have, their resilience, the complicated lives they lead, and the feelings they hide for the sake of more important things. The Tale of the Bamboo Cutter is a story about parting. And the moment Iroha named her Kaguya, their fate was set in stone. And just like the folktale, instead of magic gold bamboozle, it's Kaguya finding massive success with her career as a streamer, an unrefined star taking the world by storm. They were absolutely smitten with her. Her life together with Iroha continued on, but the moon people coming to take her back always loomed overhead. And after winning the Yachiyo Cup, moving to a whole new house, their huge collab performance, when everything seemed fine and dandy, they finally came to take her back. The tragedy of Iroha and Kaguya is that they both start at opposite ends and end up switching places by the end of it all. Kaguya decided to run headlong to her destiny, despite how much more she wants to do and share with the person she's loved. She found herself accepting her fate. Iroha found that she genuinely cared for and fell in love with Kaguya more than she could admit, and would do anything to protect the life they have, despite being the one who claimed the normal ending would be just fine. With the deadline of the full moon for her fellow Lunarian's arrival, Kaguya had one request to Iroha: to complete an unfinished song she made with her dad for her to perform in her graduation live. Inevitably, even with the help of everybody, the moon people were too strong, and Kaguya was taken back, giving her thanks to the world and telling Iroha she loves her one more time. She wears the feathered robe and returns to the moon, leaving Iroha all the money they've made during their short time. In a cruel twist of fate, granting the wish she made in the very beginning of this story. Days, hell, maybe even weeks pass before Iroha got back on her feet, trying to come to terms with losing Kaguya, convincing herself that she could finally go back to her normal life. But the time she spent with her, their chaotic, halcyon days, changed her. Refusing this ending, she dedicates everything she has into adding on to the song she's recently finished, all to lay her feelings bare as a reply, even intentionally skipping out on work and even finally talking to her mom after all this time. And then, a small epiphany. Finally, I can talk about Yachiyo. Runami Yachiyo is an AI live streamer and administrator of Tsukuyomi. She can make copies of herself, sing and dance, and her lore is that she's lived for 8,000 years. And she, in fact, quite acts the part. She carries herself with a lot of dignity while still being pretty silly and whimsical. But even with that, it's like she's keeping something close to her chest. Because the AI live streamer thing is a front. She is actually Kaguya. When Iroha sang the completed song, it transcended space itself and reached the moon, undoing the feather robe's spell. Kaguya hears this and locks in, finishing all her work. But alas, even with all that, she was far too late. Iroha has grown too old in Earth time. But worry not, Moon People tech allows them to travel through time too. As she once again set out across time to Earth, on her way there, she bumps into an enormous meteor, launching herself back 8,000 years in the past. With the limited energy the bamboo ship had left, she sends out her trusted companion Inodoge, gaining a physical body of a sea slug to act as a medium for her to connect with the outside world. Millennia have passed, and mankind finally have made the technology for her to connect herself to what we call the internet, which was apparently very similar to the moon. There, she found herself able to interact with the world, even as a disembodied soul. And as the beautiful songstress of Tsukuyomi, she's finally able to meet Iroha again. This naturally leaves Iroha confused, not being able to fully process that her idol was actually the love of her life that was taken back just a bit ago. Yachiyo, of course, tries to brush everything off and to simply celebrate that they've finally reunited. Iroha tries to understand it though, knowing that Yachiyo is still hiding things from her. The smile she has carrying a deep sadness, an expression Kaguya would never make. Okay, let's step back a little. 8,000 years. It is a massive, incomprehensible number, and Kaguya had lived for that long. Could you imagine the guilt she must have carried all this time to have broken her promise to Iroha of taking her to a happy ending? And could you imagine how she lived through all of that, having to use the sea slug body Fushi has as only a medium? She could not feel the warmth of touching another person, eat food, things that she indulged in so much back when she had a human body. Her soul has been weathered by 8,000 years worth of memories. Can you imagine the things she's had to witness? She has seen the worst and best of humanity. How many times she must have faltered and despaired, but she still kept holding on to the hope that one day she'll see Iroha again. And the many people she's met throughout those 8,000 years saw her conviction and admired her for it, leaving behind messages that she surely held on to in order to endure the merciless passage of time. She's changed, and with it carries this deep self-loathing, thinking she is no longer the Kaguya that Iroha loves, that she no longer deserves to be by her side anymore. Yachiyo takes Iroha to a digital recreation of her old apartment, and there's not even a single trace of her existence there, even down to the toothbrush that she would be using, which we will get glimpses of next to Iroha's when they still live there. She's so convinced that she's changed and that Iroha wouldn't accept that. But she's wrong. The thing is, she's underestimating something. It's just how much Iroha has grown to love her. Because when Iroha saw those 8,000 years for herself, she still saw her. Despite everything she's gone through, despite everything she's seen, despite everything she's had to become, despite everything, it's still her. Iroha's grown so much throughout this story. She's finally talked to her mom after all this time. She's gotten her happy ending without Kaguya. But still, Iroha wants to be with Kaguya. She can't bear the idea of continuing on without Kaguya being there by her side. Yachiyo sings the chorus of reply, the song that Iroha made with her dad that she finished for her, the song that Yachiyo held close to her chest throughout those 8,000 years. Iroha sings the chorus for Remember, the debut song Yachiyo made for Iroha. The song that was there for her in her darkest moments, the song that saved her. And she realizes the story's not over. She abandons the field of law as a career and dedicates everything she has to robotics. And in a mere 10 years, she creates a fully functional android body for Kaguya so she can experience the world again. And in the Ray MV, which basically serves the after story to tie everything up neatly, they also figure out how to make her truly human again, using the bamboo ship that was now buried in the peak of Mount Fuji. I told you the original story was important. You know the reason why I love this movie so much? Well, other than its animation and music, it's the story of these two star-crossed lovers undooming their narrative. They have so much love for each other that it transcends time, space, and even fate itself. Now, this movie is by no means perfect. A lot of people say it's too long and that they're trying to do too much by the end, which I can understand. The sci-fi elements hit you out of nowhere, but honestly, I find the story to be pretty robust in that regard. Everything's got some explanation to why it happens. Causal loop, bootstrap paradox, all of that stuff. Yama-sensei did say in an interview that the first drafts of the story was meant for a full seasonal core, and as much as that would be interesting to see, I love this movie because despite all of the compromises it had to make, it still told its story so effectively. And that is something to celebrate. It's so rare for an original anime movie to get this much love. Also, Kaguya has already made her 3D debut with a free concert over in VR chat, and it set its new all-time concurrent user record because of it. They've announced as well that they will recreate a version of Tsukuyomi for VR chat and having Kaguya perform again. But this time, they've held a crowdfunding event where if we reach the goal, we also get 3D Iroha and Yachiyo. And they reached the goal an hour after it was announced. And we got Black Onyx too. It has taken Japan by storm too, as they've had actual screenings in cinemas, and it's gained massive success there too, earning 1.68 billion yen in the past a month or two, or a month and a half that it's been screening. By the way, this movie is filled to the brim with so many little details throughout its runtime that you don't notice at first viewing. And as much as I want to talk about all of them, and honestly, I debated actually doing it, but my god, this video is long enough. Somebody out there will do it, and likely do a better job than me. It hurts me how late I am to the party for making this video. Because I've been planning to for like a month now, and a lot of life has been in the way. But even so, I hope I properly convey just how much love I have for this movie. And I hope you come to love the movie because of it too. I'd like to thank my friends who've been there to support me once again as I agonized over this script for basically 2 months almost. Sorry it took so long. Burnout from college, the rust of not having created anything for that long, and again, life got in the way. And I thank those subscribers who've stuck with me for all this time again. Especially, it's been like 6 months since my last proper video, so thank you. And for those who were giving me some encouraging words this past month or so, I really appreciate it. I hope you'll stick around. There's more to this channel, and I will be making more stuff for real this time. Like, subscribe, share this to your friends and all that, and thank you for watching.